What we're going to look at today is the Object-Oriented Programming project. Now, some of you may be wondering, Object-Oriented Project is due on the 10th, right? And where is that Object-Oriented Programming located? Because you don't see a drop box for it. So if you come down the class page to your Object-Oriented Programming unit, you'll see the Object-Oriented Program project, and you open it up. It opens up like a quiz, but it's not a quiz. See, you have unlimited time to complete it, but you must remember to save it before you leave out of that location. So when you open the project, you have three basic questions here. You only have to do one of them. I only have to do one of the assignments out of the three. So this is where you do it at. You put your answer for, if you're going to do one, you put your answer for one in there. You know, maybe you'll do it in Notepad or you'll do it from Java Beans. Copy and paste it and stick it in here and submit it. If you leave this section for any reason, just save your answers. I know some of you guys are going to do all three. I know you're going to do it. But you're only required to do one. Okay, so you have this one here, create a set of classes shown in the diagram. Create a different object for the different shapes and display of each shape. I've already turned back a couple of assignments that weren't object-oriented programming. You're doing it from this object-oriented unit, so do it in an object-oriented manner, okay? Also, you can write a program to store and print the grades, 3 classes, total and average of 2 students using class and objects. And the third program to demonstrate the overloading method. What's overloading method? That's in section F. That's a specific method. Some of you haven't done that right and had your project returned, okay? It's a different method that we're looking for. So I'm going to go into this and give you examples of what I am looking for. So you have to answer one of these questions. The first question was to create a set of classes as shown in the diagram. So you want to make sure that you have a class called shape and 3 child classes called circle, rectangle, and square. Okay, if you don't want to do that one, maybe you'll do one of the other ones. The second question asks you to write a program to store and print the grades, 3 classes, so you got to make 3 classes. You have to use total and average of 2 students using class and objects. Or question 3, using the overloading method, you have a class of many functions of the same name. In other words, adding 2 units, 2 values of different data types. First thing we're going to look at is an example of question 1. So this is an example of that. You have the parent class shape. You have this child class circle, a child class square, a child class rectangle, and then you here's your class that puts it all together, area info. So your first class, you define your terms here. So you'd have a final double. You have pi is equal to what? 3.24. That's because that's for your circle, the area of your circle, right? Then you give yourself some other variables, r for radius, a, l, and b. So the first subclass you do would be circle. So it's a subclass of shape, right? So you'd have circle with your keyword extends, and what's your class you're extending? Shape. Okay. So then you initialize a radius. Then you define it as r for the radius equals rad. And then you give your formula here, your method, void area. So then what's your result? Your result would be a double, right? Because it's something times pi. So as pi is equal to r times r, right? Radius times radius. Then you print out the result. Circle is equal to this string plus results. So that's what the first one's going to print out when it runs the class circle. So when you run the class square, this is your second example, right? Square extends shape. Keyword there is extends. Shows that class is square is a subclass of shape. So here you're declaring is equal to side, SID. Okay, then you have A is equal to side. So then you do your area for your method. System out, print line, area of square is equal to, and then you put in here then you add to your string A times A. So then you do your rectangle, right? Same idea. So you have length times breadth, right? So you declare your length, int equals LE, int equals BR for length and breadth. So then you go L is equal length, LE, breadth, BR is equal, B is equal to BR. Then you put in your formula here. Print line, area of rectangle is, that's your string, and then you put your formula in here, L times B. Then finally you have your area info that prints out all your, that prints out everything. So public static void main. So this is the one you declare. When you save it as a Java file, you'd save it as area info, because this is what you're going to be producing. So then you give the circle new, and you have circle with 2 as your parameter. Your square has 3 as a parameter. Your rectangle has 3 and 4 as their parameters. Then you have object circle area, object circle square, and object rectangle area. So then then when that runs, that'll print out all these results and you'll get your answer. Let me show you what that looks like. So you see I've called it area info Java. Next thing we're going to do is I'm going to go to my command prompt. And I'm going to change drive to my desktop. Now I'm going to run my program. Now I just go and put it in there. And there's my results. So this is fine. Now all I have to do is copy and paste this. So I click in my thing here and I go Control A to select everything. Maybe right click copy. Then I go back into my text box. All I do is I right click paste in here. So there's my formula. I've already checked it out. I know everything works, so I'm fine on this one if I wanted to turn in this one. What if I wanted to turn in one of the other ones? Second program says to write a program to store and print the grades, 3 classes, 3 totals, and average of 2 students using class and objects. So I create the parent class, students, right? And then I introduce some strings. Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3, and then total. Then I have a method called setDetails. So what is the setDetails going to do? I'm going to have a string. I'm going to have an int mark 1, M1, int and mark 2, M2, and int mark 3. So then I initialize it. Name is equal to N, mark 1 is equal to M1, mark 2 is equal to M2, mark 3 is equal to M3. Then I have a total is equal to 1 plus 2 plus 3, right? So that's how my set detail method. Then I make another method called print detail. I want to print out the details of my method, right? Print out the details of my class. This way I've printed out the name, and the grades for the 3 grades for the classes. Then I have the total. Then I have a print out an average, which is the total divided by 3. Easy, right? Then I just have to run a one I'll call class stud for student, right? So that's class students, and this is class stud. Well, I don't know. All right, so here I'm just put it out there, right? Students. Student 1 is equal to new student. Student 2 is equal to new student. Then I set the details for a student 1, S1 set details. This is Rahul. Set then I printed that details, and I set the second method, set details for Rita. And then I print the details for that. So let me show you what that looks like. Okay, maybe this is a little clearer for you to see. So let's see how this runs. Okay, I do my Javik. Okay, so I run Java. And there's my output. I have my output for Joe. I have my output for Sue and using object methods. Now obviously you can do any of these in not Java Beans or any other Java program. Just know that Java Beans, you don't have to compile them. When you save them, it automatically compiles. And for the third one, what do? We write a program to demonstrate the overloading method that would have a class of many functions of the same name. In other words, adding 2 variables of different data types. So what would that look like? You know, what we're doing is we're overloading. We're using the overloading method. So what does that mean? We're reusing functions. Overloaded function, overloaded function, overloaded function, right? All these are the same. What's different? There's nothing in there. And you print out no parameter. The parameter for this one is an integer. The parameter for this one is 2 integers. The parameter for this one are 2 doubles. The parameter for this is an integer and a double. And the parameter for this are 2 strings. So see, I don't require that you put in that many different data types, but you certainly ought to have more than just a couple. Seriously. So then what do you do after that? You just declare your class to run it, your overload, right? And then you just put in there your objects, declare your objects here, object my overloaded function with nothing in it, then your overloaded function with 5, then your overloaded function with 2 integers, then with 2 doubles, then this is with an integer and a double, and this is with 2 strings. So let's see what that looks like. See? It's not that complicated, just long. It looks difficult, doesn't it? But it isn't. Okay, that example was a little bit complicated. You don't have to do anything like that. To overload a function, you can put it in a couple times. Here's an add function. Here, see, I put it in a couple times. One takes 2 integers. The other takes 2 doubles, right? So I just say class load. And then I go say, okay, I give it a couple of integers. And I give it a couple of doubles. See? That's all. Doesn't have to be anything complicated like I showed you earlier. Let me show you how this compiles. Okay, now I've compiled it. Now I just run it. And it gives me my two answers right there. So that's all it takes. So now let me go and do it in the Java beans. So in either case, I can copy and paste that back into the program like I did with the first example. Let me show you what that looks like. So once I've copied it in there, all I have to do is click Submit for grading and I'm done. That's all I have to do. Okay? Any questions, just call me or send me a K-mail. See you later.